So, tell me something terrible. You didn't want to have a...
I didn't want to have another Damon burp.
A Damon burp.
Just from hell.
I wonder,
Summoned
that
from
seems
hell.
like it was like 5 episodes ago. I bet you it was like 20 episodes ago.
It was.
This is episode 36.
Yes, it is.
3 dozen.
Okay. You ready to get started?
Sure.
Hi, I'm Tiffany.
Hi, still Scott.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah, you are. And we're not recording this one on video. So pants are optional for us and for you.
Definitely me. Actually, bra is optional. I have shorts on again.
Yeah.
I have the same shorts on again.
From last episode? Mm-hmm. Have you taken them off?
Yes.
Oh, look at you go.
I put on leggings.
I don't know which shorts I had on last time because I'm not a weirdo.
I just thought it was funny because I had my owl shirt and my Hogwarts shorts on.
So you're wearing Hogwarts shorts and a Hogwarts shirt right now?
Yep.
Or I guess a Harry Potter shirt.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad.
Fanboying out over here. Okay.
Are you going to do a hard segue?
Yes. Hard segue. No segue.
Tonight's been brought to you by Vizzy Hard Seltzers. So for a little, we're going to hide the burps as much as we can. But these things are very fizzy.
They're not that fizzy. They're like micro fizzies.
Yeah, they're not White Claw fizzy. They're better than White Claws.
They are.
But they're still seltzers, and we usually don't drink those on the podcast. But
And they have antioxidants in them.
meh,
You
whatever.
gotta offset that alcohol.
We had chips and salsa for second dinner, so these made more sense.
Oh, first dinner was Aggies.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Good
Five
life
people
choices.
5 people know what that is.
5 people's nose.
Yep, 5
You can
people's
tell
nose.
the Vizzies are effective over there.
Okay. Oh, no.
Are you going to tell me about some terrible pop stars' tragic life?
Nope.
Oh,
This one's local.
uninterested. Just kidding.
Not even in local?
How local?
Bath. So, by Lansing.
Okay, I was going to say, I knew that was somewhere by land. Literally, that's all I could have told you.
Yeah, you need to stop. You're going to bump everything.
Stop what?
Your leg. You just bounce.
We're not on video. I can bounce my leg as much as I
I'm
want.
worried about the floor creaking and like.
The floor, no. My mic's not even attached to this table.
It gives me anxiety
Oh
when
my
you
God.
bounce.
Okay. I'll sit here and just hold my legs up in the air. This is good for my core exercise. I hope you're happy now.
It was you constantly like bobbing and weaving over there was just like stressing me out.
I'm all hopped up on the Vizzies. What do you want from me?
That's all that vitamin C.
All that acerola of cherry fruit.
So it's been a minute since we did a Michigan-based story, and since and it's also been kind of a minute since we covered any murders. So this episode, I'm going to jump in the deep end with the Bath School Massacre.
Okay. I've never heard of this.
I've heard a little bit. There's like a green sign out somewhere outside of a building in Bath,
Okay.
like a historical marker sign.
You said massacre, so I'm just wondering, that's got to be like multiple dead then. Mm-hmm. Is this like a school shooting?
Worse.
Oh, great. Because, wait. Worse than a school shooting?
Yeah.
Okay. I doubt that, but try me.
How about a school bombing?
I don't think that's worse.
Are you sure?
Yes.
It's the deadliest school massacre in United States history.
Okay. I agree that the casualty count could be higher, but there's not literally people looking people in the eye and shooting them. That to me is worse.
Wait till you hear what happens to the poor superintendent.
Okay, but I'm just saying that bombs have a level of anonymity to me that makes them not as bad as shooters.
Oh, people know who does it. Who did
That's
it?
fine.
Oh no, shooting. I'm not downplaying shooting. Shootings
No, I know.
are fucked.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the fact that there's not like triggers being pulled with like eye contact, that makes it less slightly. Anyway,
There is a trigger being pulled with eye contact.
oh, okay. So maybe you'll make it worse. You have a way.
I'm really good at that.
Yeah, you have a special set of skills.
So this is the deadliest school massacre in American history, and it happened on
Really?
May 18th, 1927.
Okay.
Yep.
19. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
So the massacre was carried out by this awful fuck named Andrew Kehoe.
Kehoe?
Kehoe.
Okay.
Some good last names.
Great.
It's bad. So you've been warned. Child death, suicides, you've been warned. And it's way worse than I thought. So
is it like keyhole without an L?
yeah, like key. Look at that hoe.
I know. I'm just thinking, like, somewhere on Ellis Island, they, like, transcribed it wrong. He was supposed to be Andrew Keyhole, and then he just became Keyho because someone dropped an L.
You know, it's probably from the Midwest. The person that wrote him in.
Just swallowed it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Keyho? Okay, I got you. That'd be Southern.
That would be something.
that'd
Yeah.
be-
Ours are the R's. Yeah, if it
Yeah.
was Keyhore, then it would become Keyho.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So anyway, me just kind of going down the rabbit holes of what I thought was like kind of terrible.
The
to
rabbit
like
hole.
the rabbit hole. Me going down the rabbit hole from what I thought was slightly terrible to like really fucked up. It tends to be the trend right now. So we're just going to keep riding that trend. So Andrew Kehoe was born in Tecumseh, Michigan, and he
Tecumseh.
Yep. And later he discovered... drives me nuts every time. Like, I listen to podcasts, I'm like, Tecumseh! No one knows. It's not spelled like that.
There's your red line you were looking for earlier.
I found it. So he later studied to be an electrician. He moved down south to work as said electrician for a few years. He suffered a head injury from a fall that left him in a coma for 2 weeks. So he moved himself back to Michigan, moved in with his dad, who by that time had remarried a woman named Frances. And boy howdy, did Andrew not like his stepmom, even though he was a grown-ass man.
So the head injury wasn't like super young. It was later on.
Yeah, like early, like late teens, early adults.
Still probably pubescent-esque.
Yeah, I mean...
Not a good time for head injury.
Yeah. No, they think that like the human brain is fully... Hi, pretty bird.
If you saw the visual episode, you'll know our proximity to the bird is unfortunately close.
And she's upset because somebody has cheese.
Yeah, he does.
So, per the usual. So, yeah, they say the human brain isn't like fully
If you don't eat
developed
spicy
until...
cheese with your alcohol, you're not friends with me.
That's Havarti.
This
Yeah.
is habanero jack, home dog.
Oh, I saw the HA. I was supposed to say, go get that ghost pepper cheese. I thought wasn't going to be that bad. It's been in there for 2 months. It's
Yeah,
so
because it
bad.
makes your kneecaps sweat when you eat it.
It does.
This is fun. I'm having a really good time.
My eyes are bleeding. So anyway, Francis went to start a fire in their oil-based stove, which then exploded.
Okay.
The stove exploded.
But her fire intentions were pure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Andrew then claimed to attempt to put out the fire that was consuming his
With
stepmother.
water?
Yes, with water.
On an oil? Mm-hmm. Okay, so this guy's a genius.
Didn't work, did it?
I don't even grow up around oil anything, and I know not to do that.
And so that obviously exacerbated the flames.
Mm-hmm.
And the following day, she died.
Wow.
Yep. Neighbors speculated that
Did he dunk her in a bathtub?
No, the neighbors speculated that the stove was tampered with.
By Kehoe?
And now it's time to... Whoa, ho. Shh. No, you're not pretty. You will get squirted right in the face.
Go throw a cheese slice on that bird.
And now it was time for Andrew to like grow up, move the fuck out, and get married.
So wait, how old is he at this point?
In his mid-20s.
So
I don't actually know his name.
So when he bombs the school, he's not a high schooler.
He's like 40 years old.
Oh shit! Okay, I assumed it because nowadays it's always it's always like the angsty kid that goes back or whatever, like troubled kid, or just a normal kid. But still, like it's. I assumed he was of the same age.
Not even close.
Well, this is terrible. Thank you.
So he wound up moving out and getting married. He married Nellie Price in 1912, and then in 1919, the pair bought a 185-acre farm outside of Bath. And although his neighbors said that he was nice enough, always doing favors and volunteering his time, he dressed meticulously, frequently changing his shirt midday, or if it became slightly dirty. Red flag number 1.
He's a little compulsive.
Yeah.
I can respect that. I'm not saying I respect him. I'm just a hair bit compulsive myself.
Are you sure?
I'm fairly certain that I am.
Guys, when you get married, if you live with each other before, there's an adjustment period.
I don't care if my shirt gets dirty. I'm just saying I have other compulsive tendencies that I'm aware of, and you have made very clear. Thank you.
I know I'm hard to live with, though. I have undiagnosed ADHD, guys, and I make messes. And for someone who likes cleanliness,
I don't like cleanliness as much as I like organization.
Declutter, yes. Organization. Yeah. I'm the person that's like, I know exactly where I sat this, and then you moved it 3 days ago, and now I don't know where it's at. But now I need to try to find it.
Because it would have been sitting there for 3 days, which is why I moved it.
Yep. And guys,
keep going with your story.
I don't know how our marriage is still...
This is going to turn into, like, counseling.
Counseling? It's not good. So he was also very cantankerous. Kehoe was short-tempered, rageful.
Don't use your fancy words.
I know. I didn't even lift that from an article. I just decided to use that.
But you didn't know how to spell it, so you had to kind of feel it out when you were typing
the
it.
only thing I got wrong was that I put a C instead of a K. I've never actually typed that word out. I've used it before because I'm just that...
Pretentious?
Yes.
to use a similarly long word.
So Kehoe was also described as short-tempered, rageful, and held grudges. Anytime that someone would disagree with him in even the slightest, he flew into a rage. He was also witnessed beating a horse to death because it wasn't performing up to his standards.
How big was this? Like a
full-grown-ass horse.
Okay.
He was a farmer. It was a big-ass horse.
Okay.
Yep. And then he also shot a neighbor's dog because it came into his yard barking and it annoyed him.
Seems like a good guy. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yep. So he was a tinkerer rather than a farmer.
A cantankerous tinker, as we call him. What a Kehoe.
Bad. And he would leave his fields fully unplowed if his rigged together inventions didn't work.
I say leave no field unplowed.
Yeah. Well, as someone who waxes people for a living, I also agree. So he was soon voted onto the school board because...
No, the bard.
The school bard, because he was shrewd with money, which was a trait that was admired by the townspeople.
They do like a cantankerous tinker. I can't keep saying that. I want to keep it running. It's hard. Okay, I quit.
So while on the school board, he would frequently vote against everyone, just to be an asshole, I'm assuming. And if he didn't get his way, he would call for adjournment, so it would pause everything that they were trying to do. He frequently got fights into the superintendent.
He's just a giant pain in the ass.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
He's a control freak. Because he wasn't just an asshole. Like, he would throw bitch fits if he didn't get his way.
It's his stepmom's fault. That's why he burned her to death.
I feel like there might have been some daddy issues involved, but sure.
What happened to his original mom?
She just died. She just died.
They call those birth mothers? Birth moms?
No, OG moms.
Yeah. Yeah. What happened to his OM?
I don't know. It was the 20s. I think she just died.
Okay.
I didn't look into that, or I may have skimmed over it. Doesn't matter.
I'm just saying his upbringing definitely had something to do with his douchiness later on in life.
Oh, I'm sure. Hold on. I have to pause for the cause.
The cause being a strawberry kiwi Vizzy seltzer.
Mm-hmm.
If you watched the YouTube video, you'll notice I will drag on a sentence like this one that doesn't need to be dragged on to allow her to chug her alcohol. And when she talks, I just eat turkey pepperonis and habanero cheese because, well, I'm a fat kid, so that's what we do.
I haven't been drinking this whole time, guys. We've worked out a system. We are...
We're professionals.
We're a power couple.
We're professionals.
No, power couple.
Hashtag couple goals. Some couples do push-ups off each other. We just know when to talk to fill the void when the other one drinks or eats.
So anyway, if he didn't, he also frequently got into fights with the superintendent, Emery.
I did 6 chin-ups tonight in a row. Did I tell you that?
No, that's a big deal.
Yeah, pull-ups suck, but chin-ups I'm getting better at.
I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
So he frequently got into fights with the superintendent, Emery Hayuk.
Sorry, what?
Hayuk. Tell me there's no other way to say that last name.
Huyck. Hike.
Huyck.
There's no yuck in it, though. It's just hike. Heek.
Emery. And he would get into regular arguments with the town's financial authorities.
Do you think Emery's short for something? Like Emerald?
Why would you name someone Emerald?
I don't know, but Emery's kind of a nice name.
Emery is a nice name. I feel like Emery is now a female name.
Yeah, it's very gender neutral, probably.
Dana and Ashley were like initially.
Well, and his stepmom's name was Frances, which is my middle name.
You know, in hindsight, I know you're supposed to like pass it down to the firstborn son, but we probably should have given Lily that last name that middle name since we couldn't have any other children.
No, we'll name our next parrot that. It'll be fine.
We're going to get another parrot?
When that one
You're going to let me get another parrot?
When that one dies.
We're going to be dead by that time that one dies.
Perfect.
You're going to be dead by the time that one dies.
Now we're talking. Dream scenario.
So he was of the opinion that the taxes...
Emery or Kehoe?
Kehoe.
Okay.
Was of the opinion that the taxes were too high, especially the taxes that were set to pay for the brand new school, the Bath Consolidated School. So now that we have a general idea of Kehoe's disposition, let's move on to what built up to May 18th.
So they were remodeling their bath? Sorry.
That'd be a bougie-ass bath.
Bougie-ass bath. I don't know if it's bougie. It just was probably
Mine's working on being bougie now that it's not cream anymore. So, Kehoe...
That's like an inside joke. Like, no one's going to realize you painted your bathroom last week except for
Guys,
me.
I painted my bathroom last week, and it's teal and red and, like, off-white, and it's...
ridiculous.
It's amazing. I love it. We also have a black bedroom, and that's all my doing as well, so...
It's not a bedroom. It's a spare room.
It has a bed in it.
And all of our Harry Potter shit.
Yeah, that's why it's black.
Yeah.
So Kehoe was...
It's our pride and joy / kind of embarrassing, so...
Also, quick side story, quick anecdote. This man is an Irish psychic. All right, so...
I'm not Irish nor psychic, so that's
Sorry,
kind of
he's
offensive.
a Scottish semi-psychic. So when we were painting...
I'm a Scottish guesser, and I guess correctly more often than not.
We were painting the room, and I wanted to pull up the floor because the carpet because eventually I would like to be able to redo all of the floors in this house. And he goes, while we're painting it and deciding what we're going to put in there, kind of Harry Potter-esque, sort of Nocturne Alley themed
/ just macabre stuff.
Yeah, he goes...
We have the weirdest collection of junk.
Yeah, we were very eclectic people. And so he goes, so how witchy are we going to get with this? He's like, I don't want like too witchy. Like, I don't want to have pentagrams on the floor or anything. And I pull up the carpet and I am mopping the floor and I look down and there is a star inside of a circle embossed underneath the brown that they had painted the floorboards.
Where the fuck did that bug go?
Up. He's right there.
Okay.
It's a moth.
I thought it was like in my beard. I was about to run screaming like a girl.
And so I had to call him up there and show him that this star, it wasn't a like lined star the way that they are in pentagrams. So we think it used to be like a Western themed bedroom.
Yeah, like it looked like a sheriff's badge.
But it was 5% off of a pentagram after he legit said, we're not going to paint pentagrams on the floor, are we? And I was like, nah, we're not. And then we found one. So our house is haunted. And if we burn it down one day, you guys know why.
Anyway.
Back to the story.
And the moral of that story is we have a Harry Potter room in our house because we're just gigantic losers.
With Legos in it.
With a Lego Hogwarts. It's not like Legos. Like, we don't have a box that we, like, build stuff on when we're, like, having a bad day.
We should, though.
We should. I mean, that's what Lily does. Anyway, will you read your story?
Anyway, we've gone off the rails enough.
You single-handedly turned the wheel and just drove us off the rails.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
So Kehoe was elected the temporary township clerk for Bath Township in 1925. In 1926, he experienced a very public loss of the township clerk seat, which triggered him immensely. Kehoe stopped paying his mortgage and his taxes, and he was notified by the mortgage company that the foreclosure process had started. Nellie, his wife, was constantly in and out of hospitals for ongoing tuberculosis, and the family was racking up debt quickly. And his tenure on the school board.
How do you go in and out of the hospital for tuberculosis?
She gets better, and then like it gets it's like walking. It's like walking pneumonia kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they'd racked up a bunch of debt, and then his tenure on the school board was coming to a close.
I was really hoping you said she went down to Kentucky to the Mammoth Caves. I was really hoping you were
full circle. Yeah. No one lived. Remember? The only one that lived was the invalid's child.
I don't know Nellie's future.
I mean, she dies. Not in the caves.
They all do, eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone from the 20s is
just
dead.
wait. So he stopped farming. He started tinkering about the farm, and neighbors.
What is it?
Cantankerous tinkering.
Cantankerous tinker.
So neighbors,
which is the name of this episode. Congratulations.
So the neighbors, one in particular named Ellsworth, assumed that he was planning.
Ellsworth, first name, last name.
It was his last name. I couldn't find his first name, or it was. I didn't look.
I think it'd be
hard for his first name.
It's a fine first name.
Ellsworth.
Yeah.
Our next dog.
If it's fat.
It will be based on our track record.
Based upon every animal that lives in this house.
Except for the bird. So he assumed that Keyhole was just planning to complete suicide.
That's Kehoe.
Kehoe was complaining.
Complaining. When you just bitch constantly while you're trying to organize something, you're just complaining.
He was complaining his suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't necessarily wrong per se. So April 16th, Nellie came home from the hospital, from an extended hospital stay.
From her latest bout with tuberculosis.
Mm-hmm. So this was the day that was believed that Kehoe started to enact his devious plan. First, after spending weeks wiring up dynamite and firebombs around his own farm, including the outbuildings and the house and the barn, he decided he would start with killing Nellie.
Aw.
Yeah, I told you she was going to die.
I was going to make a Nelly the rapper joke, and I
failed.
I just
didn't have enough time.
Now
she's out of the story.
I just didn't listen to Nelly enough to make a. Is he the
Air Force One's guy?
It's Your Birthday.
Nope.
Go show. Who's that? Is that 50 Cent?
Yes.
What does Nelly sing then?
I just told you. Air Force One's.
Was it?
Yeah. And it's getting hot. Shit, was that Nelly?
See?
Oh,
you don't
no.
know either.
Oh, no. I'm pretty sure it's getting hot in here with Nelly.
Are you?
Nope. Not that sure.
Good.
Moderately sure. So.
Who plays the running back in The Longest Yard? Is that
That's Nelly?
Is it?
Is it? Fuck. I used to watch that movie on repeat.
I know. I think it is. It's not 50 Cent. That's all I know.
No shit. He's too little to be 50 Cent.
I'm pretty sure that's Nelly.
I think so too.
Okay.
Okay. Chris Rock is in it, and that's all I can tell you.
And Adam Sandler.
And Adam Sandler. Yeah. Another. At least you've seen that Adam Sandler movie. Too soon? Okay. So he rigged up all of his property to be exploded, and then he killed his wife.
Exploded?
So then he killed his wife, Nellie.
I believe.
To be exploded.
Yep. Kaboomed.
He then put her in a cart of some sort and wheeled her behind the barn, surrounding her with nuts and bolts and other metal scraps and a box. It's important.
To treat like shrapnel?
Yes. So he also put a box of banknotes next to her. And when the bomb went off at 8:45 on May 18th, destroying the house, outbuildings, and barn, killing 2 horses, which were found in the barn later with wire wrapped around their legs so they couldn't escape.
He really hates horses.
Mm-hmm. And then there were other barn animals that had died, and then it had charred Nellie's body so badly that searchers surveying the property after the explosion, looking for further explosions, and then also trying to find Nellie herself, they walked by it for an entire day before they realized it was her.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So it was just like char.
Mm-hmm. And at nearly the exact same moment, the north wing of the Bath School house exploded. 500 pounds of dynamite, exacerbated by pyritol, went off, killing 38 children, 6 adults, and injuring over 58 others. Now it will never get in your beard. It's now dead.
What is pyritol?
It's some sort of...
alcohol?
Yeah, it's some sort of like... It expedites explosions. It was used a lot in field clearing. So like no one was suspicious of him going and getting...
So it's like a poor man's napalm.
Yeah, and no one was suspicious of him going and getting all of...
He was a farmer?
Yeah, because they would use dynamite and stuff like that in the pyritol to clear the fields of like rocks and giant stumps and stuff like that. So rescuers started heading initially...
500 pounds? You'd start to get a little suspicious.
He went to Lansing and Jackson.
Attaboy.
Yep. So rescuers started heading...
I went to Hammond Hardware. So that's like...
That's... Like Hammond Hardware doesn't exist anymore, does it?
Well,
oh, yes, it does.
Yeah, it's over on... what is
I was thinking
MLK.
The food place. The pet food... The farm food place that now is like Camp Shaft or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, No one gives a shit. So rescuers started heading initially to the Kehoe farm, but when they heard the second explosion just moments later, they turned around to head toward the school. Over 100 men started tearing through the rubble, women, who were the mothers, picking through debris in piles of bodies trying to find their children, dead or alive. Ellsworth, the Kehoe's neighbors, set off to grab rope from his barn to help pull up a wall that had collapsed. On his way back to the property, he passed Kehoe that was headed toward the school in his pickup truck, who waved and grinned big enough for Ellsworth to see, quote, both rows of his teeth.
It's creepy.
Mm-hmm. So 20 to 30 minutes after the explosion at the school...
You know it was creepy that he remembered how creepy it was.
Oh, yeah. Well, Kehoe was, like, sus of him. He, like, noted that he had gone through and destroyed a lot of his crops. He cut up his grapevines and kind of, like, hid the fact that he destroyed all of that stuff. Not like it matters. We know how much grapevines grow back. He was kind of sus of his neighbor to begin with. Leave her alone. She doesn't want you.
It's our cat.
So 20 to 30 minutes after the explosion at the school, Kehoe showed up, spotted the superintendent of the school, whose name we determined to be Hyuk.
Not that.
Hyuk.
Yep.
Emery.
Hook.
Emery. He pulled up to him. Kehoe pulled up to the superintendent, pulled out his rifle. The pair scuffled over the gun. Kehoe took aim, pulled the trigger, and shot into the explosives that were in the back of his shrapnel-filled truck.
Oh, okay.
So there was a gun.
So instead of shooting at the guy directly, he shot at the bomb in the back of his truck. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it exploded, killing himself, leaving his intestines hanging from the steering wheel, taking along with him one more child and 3 other adults, including the superintendent, and spewing the shrapnel at least a block away, hitting bystanders along the way.
That's, So he did it knowing that it was going to kill him, too?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
His intent was fully to kill the superintendent, who he did not get along with, and himself. And he didn't care who he took out.
In the process.
Mm-hmm. So how are you feeling about explosions at schools now?
Well, it's pretty terrible and seems unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you just have a beef with the superintendent, like...
He was mad about the taxes, too, because he felt like he was paying too much taxes. He had 185 acres and outbuildings and a huge-ass farmhouse, and he was paying $195 a year in taxes, which is the equivalent of $2,800 right now.
Which is like...
We pay $2,800.
Yeah, what you would expect at that
We have
point.
1 acre.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's $2,800. I don't actually know.
I don't know. It's less
the village was worse.
It's less
The
than
village,
that.
I think, was about that much, which is why we don't live in the village anymore.
But still, if you have a farm, yeah, you should expect to pay.
Yeah, that's nothing. Get over it, bruh. And so he was mad about it because he
I
thought...
can afford 1,000 pounds of dynamite, but not $195 in taxes.
Nope, he felt like his taxes were so much that he couldn't pay his mortgage. If it wasn't for the taxes, his house wouldn't have gone into foreclosure.
Was an anarchist at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the death toll could have been higher, but there was a group of first graders huddled around the teacher during this time, opposite the wall that was collapsing that Ellsworth went to go get his rope to help pull the wall back with. So it missed that entire group of children, and there was also a final exam of the 5th graders, who usually had a class on the 2nd floor north wing classroom, but their teacher decided that the 1st floor room on the east side was more conducive to test taking. So that's where they were when the explosion went off.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah, just random.
So in the aftermath...
Probably an Irish psychic.
Probably. That teacher. So in the aftermath, during the coroner's inquest, there was no negligence found in the case of anyone that was employed at the school, and there was no co-conspirators found to be working with Kehoe. He planned and implemented the entire thing himself. And so how did all of this happen? Apparently, like I said, dynamite and pyritol were common tools used to help farmers clear fields. So when Kehoe was bringing in loads to his farm, no one questioned it. And he even gained the nickname Dynamite Farmer because he would help his neighbors, like the neighboring farmers, to set up explosives. He was that good at it.
Okay.
And he had access to the school while he held his seat on the school board, and while he was also being employed at the school to help with electrical problems because he was still an electrician.
Mm-hmm.
A neighbor to the school recalled vehicles being parked in the middle of the night at the school, but never thought anything about it. Kehoe was even at the school that morning, slightly before 7:30, looking at a leaking water meter with, I think, the janitor.
Huh.
Yeah. And then it got closer because he sat the bombs with alarm clocks to turn to set the bomb off. Mm-hmm. And he knew it was getting close to 8:45 and that he needed to leave so that he also did not die.
Gotcha. In the initial wave.
Yeah. So he was able to secretly place the dynamite throughout the school with no one the wiser. So immediately following the disaster, telephone operators stayed at their stations for hours past their shift to summon doctors, undertakers, and local hospital staff. A local doctor and his wife, who was a nurse, both of whom served in WW1. That was an old callback.
It's like episode 2.
1.
Is it?
Yes, because I called it WW2 and you were like, what?
WWII.
Anyway, they had turned their drugstore into a triage center, and the town hall was converted into a morgue. So all the local contractors...
Never a good sign.
Mm-mm. All of the local contractors sent men to help with the cleanup and the rescue. Firefighters from Lansing were brought in, and while searching the building, an additional 500 pounds of explosives were found in the east wing of the school, with an alarm clock set to the time of the initial explosions, which is evidence that Kehoe planned to demolish the entire building. So later, when the building was being reconstructed with a generous grant from a local senator who had wound up paying for the whole thing, they had found several other packages of dynamite, bringing the total amount of unlit explosives to 700 pounds.
So it was supposed to be over twice as bad as it originally was?
Yes.
That's terrible.
Mm-hmm. And so the Kehoe farm was torn down and never rebuilt. The property was sold off to pay for the remaining balance of the mortgage, and it was discovered that the value of all of Kehoe's unused equipment prior to being completely destroyed by all of his fire bombs that he set off would have paid off all of his debts.
Shocking.
Mm-hmm.
So his solution was in front of him. Instead, he's like, I'm going to buy all this dynamite and blow everything up.
Yep. Well, they kept calling it in the article, in Wikipedia, in the article that I was reading, his vengeful murder. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was just a little bitch. Didn't get his way. Couldn't handle it. Nowadays, he'd be calling it incel.
Yeah.
And that's the end of my story.
That's the only time I've heard of someone above school age acting violently towards school age children. Mm-hmm. It's always
peers.
Yeah, someone in their age.
Yeah, I mean, there was the Kent school shooter, but he was also college age. No, was that Kent? No, Kent was in the 60s or 70s. What was the one that was really MIT? What was the one that happened in the last 10 or 12 years?
I don't know.
Anyway, he was school age.
Yeah, but it's usually close, not 40-year-old just blowing
peers.
up a school because he doesn't like the superintendent or whatever.
Or the taxes he had to pay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
Maybe if you farmed your fields, sir, you'd have the money.
Right?
It's not that hard.
Plant some corn, not bombs. What?
Hashtag plant corn, not bombs.
Yeah.
It's a new slogan. Get on a bumper sticker and put it on our cars.
We support the ethanol farmers around here. I've never...
Is ethanol corn-based?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that. I didn't study.
No, I just assumed, yeah.
Didn't you guys do a diesel fuel thing in college?
Biodiesel?
Yeah.
With McDonald's grease?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yum.
Mm-hmm.
Keep eating your McDonald's, guys.
Smelled like French fries.
Yum, Mickey D's. Sources, wikipedia.com and an article from mlive.com by...
pronounced Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.com and an article on mlive.com from Juliet Mack.
It's not Mahayek?
No, it's just M-A-C-K. That one was pretty easy.
M-A-C-K.
Okay. How you feeling after that?
That one was pretty terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how... Yeah. What was the total death count?
45 with 58 injured.
That's pretty high.
Mm-hmm. I think 44 died initially, and then there was a little girl that managed to live for 3 more months after, and then she wound up dying from her injuries.
Yeah, that's
And then technically a year later, there was another little boy who died from a brain infection that they think directly came from his injuries.
Mm-hmm. This was 1920s. Would he have been hung? I don't remember your execution. I want to know what would have happened to him if he wouldn't have killed himself.
Well, I guess it would probably... Well, in Michigan?
Yeah.
No.
No death penalty?
There's no death penalty in this state. He would have lived out his life in prison.
Yeah. Luckily, he shot a truck.
I don't know. It's a school. Nah, schools aren't federal. Schools are state.
College, maybe.
Yeah, he would have lived his days out in a penitentiary somewhere.
Being just tortured by every other inmate because he's a child killer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Prison justice.
Anyway. Yeah, that was horrible. Mm-hmm. Also, I have to pee so hard, which is rare. Normally I'm fine, but like this episode, like halfway through, I was like, shit, I gotta pee, but we can't pause this. Then I'd have to edit it.
Ugh, we don't edit.
No, we just power through, and now we'll just wrap it up, and I'll go pee.
Okay, sounds good.
Anyway, we posted last episode the hashtag Free Britney.
Those were his hashtag sound effects, in case you cared.
We posted it, obviously, in the podcast mediums, Spotify, Apple, all that. But we also posted on YouTube if you want to see. It's a little longer because it's unedited. It's more behind the scenes a little bit. You get a little before, a little after. Us showing off our cats because they interrupted the podcast. So if you want to see that, it is on the YouTube at our YouTube page of Tell Me Something Terrible. But if not, you can just listen. Or maybe you already have. Most people don't go backwards, so you probably already have. But, well, if you guys want that, like, option, we are prepared to do it in the future. Mm-hmm. We're just not going to do it every episode.
It will be at 10 o'clock at night, so I will have no makeup and bags under my eyes. You're welcome.
She has those at 8 o'clock in the morning, too. What? Okay, love you, bye. Just kidding. There's more bugs in our house. We need to go close every window. All right. Thanks you for listening. I feel like we've carried on
long enough. Okay. Thanks for listening. You made it this far.
Congratulations. We didn't do that last episode.
Oh, no.
You have disappointed everyone.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, my God. Let's start over.
The whole thing.
Yep.
Erase everything.
Yeah. I got to pee real quick, though.
Okay. All right. We'll do it all over again.
Yep, for sure. All right. Bye.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening to our terrible podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMST Pod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.
Oof, that was terrible.